Hey, my name is Dirrick Butler. I currently work at Chicago Scholars, which is a college access, success, and leadership development program here in the city of Chicago. We work every day to ensure that promising young people get into college, are successful in college, and then come back to Chicago to be some amazing leaders and propel our city to the next level. I work specifically with training the mentors that assist them throughout that journey. In addition to that, I run a video series called We the People, where I highlight amazing millennials who are doing extraordinary things across the country. And then finally, something that I'm super excited about, I'm currently in the process of developing an organization called Project 110 that will work to assist young men of color transition from middle school to high school and tool them with social skills, academic skills, and some leadership tools as well that will assist them in effectively transitioning into high school. I think everything I do is connected in some type of way. Through education, I feel like I found a good niche, something that allowed me to work with people, work with students, and bring these two people together to be able to assist the students that I'm passionate about, young men of color specifically, be successful in school so that they can then go on to be successful in life. And I think that ever since I left school, I've been doing something in that realm. It may not be the traditional teaching realm or community organizing realm, but I feel like I've kind of used my skills and talents and gifts in a way that will assist the community, specifically those targeted people. I attended Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia, shout out. But I was originally going to Morehouse College and was super excited about going to that school, but found out that they did not have a film program. I have always had a love for history and highlighting people's stories. So I wanted to be a filmmaker, and Spike Lee was always like my idol, if you will, someone that I looked up to in that realm. So when I found out that he took his film classes at Clark Atlanta, I was like, well, I might as well just go to CAU. And I do not regret that decision at all. I had an amazing time at Clark Atlanta and truly made me the person that I am today. But in one of my documentary film classes, I saw a documentary by the name of Waiting on Superman. And this documentary highlighted the educational experiences of individuals across the country that grow up in under-resourced circumstances. They don't necessarily have the funding to go to some of these top-notch schools. They don't have the zip code that will allow them to get into these schools. And it highlighted the hurdles that families and students have to jump over to even get a good education. And because I had the privilege of attending really great schools from when I was little to high school, I just assumed that everybody had the same educational experience. And it wasn't until this film that I realized, like, oh my God, like this is not right. And it truly sparked my passion for education because I saw myself in seeing how privileged I was in the space of education, that I wanted to ensure that other people who looked like me had those same experiences. So that sparked me to apply for Teach for America. I started teaching in New Orleans. So I truly enjoyed like working with students, teaching students, building relationships with their families, getting out in the community, being an advocate for students' rights, specifically around special education and the diverse learning population that we had in New Orleans. But I realized that as a teacher, you can only do so much. And that didn't really sit well with me. I'm the type of person that likes to push and likes to challenge and likes to truly make changes for the students and families that I work for. So I realized that the only way to do this was through policy. And that really inspired me to begin researching schools and schools that had education or strong education policy programs, and that led me to Chicago. I came to Loyola University and got my master's in education policy with a concentration in sociology, and I've been in education ever since.
Awesome. So being someone who wants to impact the lives of young people, specifically in middle school, what was a moment in your childhood that shaped your perspective or possibly even influenced your career trajectory?
growing up, my brother had a few experiences in the juvenile justice system that stemmed from his experiences in public schools in Texas. And it wasn't until I had the context of education policy and being a teacher that I then was able to reflect on those experiences and kind of name what they were, right? So this whole notion of the school to prison pipeline, coupled with teachers who aren't culturally competent in how to deal with students of color, coupled with schools not having the resources to truly teach students with diverse needs, and then also just coupled with the bias of schools, period, right? So my brother had ADHD growing up, and of course, you know, as an African-American family, at first my mom was a little leery of medication and seeking professional assistance in figuring out what were the issues that he was experiencing. But all those things came together with him being suspended multiple times, expelled from a few schools, and eventually that led to him being actually incarcerated. And I think that's kind of what stems my purpose and passion today, ensuring that students have culturally competent teachers in the classroom, ensuring that students have the tools within themselves to navigate that space, as well as ensuring that schools have the resources needed to truly address not just students academically, but the whole child, because you can't teach a child if a child is not fully there. So schools have to learn how to truly address the full student. And I think those are the experiences that I had early on that truly propelled me to be a part of the education world, and of course all kind of are now culminating in my work at Chicago Scholars and Project 110. I truly think my purpose is to make an impact in young men of color's lives. I think it's something that I've kind of fallen into, but have truly found a love and passion for through education, through my research and teaching experience at Urban Prep Academy, through my work at Chicago Scholars, and just seeing how that still is a fire that's in me that I have to make happen. And then now truly like acting upon it, right? Building a solution, building a program that can truly impact students' lives. So Project 110 is kind of a culmination, I think, of all the experiences that I've had in education, assisting students academically, assisting them on the social side, as well as giving them those tools to become passionate leaders in their schools and beyond. And it's not only just from that middle school to high school piece, but it's also from high school to college, because students aren't funneling up to programs like Chicago Scholars because of issues that are at the very beginning of their educational experiences. I think this is a space that I can truly build a community of partners and a community of people who can assist in making an impact in that middle school to high school transition, so that they can then get into programs like Chicago Scholars, Posse, One Goal, all these elite, amazing organizations in Chicago that get students to college. So yeah, I hope that this is something that can get started here in the city of Chicago. Although I'm not from here, Chicago is very near and dear to my heart, as it is the place that I found my purpose and passion. It's this quote that really sticks out to me. I don't know who said it or where it came from, but the quote is, "You cannot become what you don't see." If you are not exposed to something, how are you even able to become it, right? You know, if you want someone to become a leader, they have to be exposed to that. They have to see and hear stories of individuals who come from similar backgrounds, similar schools, similar family situations. So this video blog, or video series as I call it, We the People, is all about highlighting millennials of color, or leaders of color who work across this country to bring about change. Something that I say all the time is that they make the American dream possible for all people, right? Whether it's individuals in education, whether it's the LGBT community, whether it's the dreamer community. We the People has been a place to highlight these stories. I started it in a time of transition for me. I had just got laid off from a position, and I was really in a place of, I don't know what's next. And it started as just having conversations with people. Like, tell me about your story. Give me something that I can hold on to and that I can have hope that something is gonna come. From that, I had the idea, like, oh my God, like there are other people and other millennials who are going through similar situations that need that inspiration and that hope to keep pushing and to keep moving forward. And that's the space that I've carved out with We the People.
Great. Last question. I know you have your hands in a lot of things right now. What does success look like for you?
I think success to me would be waking up every single day knowing that I am making a tangible impact in someone's lives. I think being able to go into a school, go into a community center, go into an after-school program, work with students of color, giving them something that they're able to utilize, not, long down the road, but like something tangible. And I think back to my days at Urban Prep, and I think every single morning, although the students were very challenging, and there were some days that I was like, what in the world is going on? I truly loved my job at Urban Prep because I was able to make an impact and see that impact instantaneously. I think that's what success looks like for me, living in your purpose, utilizing your superpowers to make that purpose come to life. And I think that I am right at the precipice of living within that purpose. I think it takes a long time for you to really figure out what that is. And I think as millennials, sometimes we are hard on ourselves about being successful. But I think if we really had conversations with each other about what that looks like, there would be like 50 million different definitions. So I think having that definition of yourself is very important because you're not looking to the left, you're not looking to the right. You're always looking at yourself and saying, what does my success look like and have I met that? And I think that's what I'm in the process of defining and living out every single day.